It is rare to find so much industry expertise all in one spot, right at your fingertips. The world of public adjusting and insurance claims can be a scary one. This changes now. That's why we built this podcast for you, where all the industry experts converge. Let us be your guide to education and personal growth. You're listening to Because Experience Matters, the show for public adjusters who want to up their game. Hosted by the 2021 Public Adjuster of the Year, Jack Hanks. How much money are you leaving on the table by not knowing all the approaches you can take to maximize the payouts to the insured and profits for your business? On this show, you will discover untapped strategies to become an unstoppable public adjuster and an effective advocate for your clients. In every episode, Jack brings on all the industry big dogs, including leading roofers, contractors, lawyers, accountants, and marketers. You'll access the insider scoop, real case studies, real obstacles, and actionable winning solutions. Let's jump in so that you can stop working hard and start working smart.
All right, guys, season 2, Experience Matters podcast. I can't believe it's our second thing already. We haven't done these in a long time. I took a little hiatus to take a breath and concentrate on some work, but we're starting our second season, and I'm extremely honored and thankful that my good friend, Galen Hair, has been our first guest on our second season. He has a really cool event coming up, Level Up Summit number 4, and I've been to every one of them, and I'm excited to come, man. And can you kind of give a little background? First off, introduce yourself, because many people may not know who you are, and then we'll start talking about the summit, man. So
awesome, yeah. So hey everyone, and thanks, Jack. Thank you so much for having me. I'm an attorney, do property casualty first party pretty much exclusively. Based out of New Orleans, but we practice around the country, and it's been great. So for me, one of the things I noticed, and Jack noticed as well, I know this because we talk about this stuff all the time, is there were like some conferences that were really great in terms of networking, lots of people, lots of partying, but there was kind of a lack of educational content. So a few years back, geez, I guess it's 2025 now, so I probably started planning it in the fall of 2020. I had this idea to do really just kind of a purely educational conference. Like we'd have a reception, we'd have some dinner, like obviously we'd do some fun stuff, but really just like kind of 50-50 claims info and business info, and just kind of put people that I thought really knew what they're doing in front of a group of people, not pay to play. No one gets to pay me to get on a stage.
No awards to be given out.
Oh my gosh. And look, that's okay. Like
Right.
Everyone's got to make $1, but I just thought it didn't make sense, for me at least, to put on an event where people were actively, paying to get on a stage, because at that point you're not teaching, you're marketing, right? So that's what we did. We put together a complete educational event. It's been awesome.
You know what I did notice too about this thing, and number one, I enjoy the living hell out of it. I've been privileged to talk. This has been my third time talking, so I appreciate that about our nonprofit that you and I are so heavily devoted to. But what I notice is we don't talk about shingles or wind damage or how to solve a claim. It's actually a lot of personal development stuff and how to be a better person and how to just the overall. You wouldn't even know you're at a claims thing. That's the cool part. I actually enjoy that more because we get bombarded about this other stuff. So I'm sure that was pre-planned, right? That was a whole agenda, is to get in there and do some stuff in your head, right?
Yeah, we'll do some claim stuff, right? But exactly, there's only so many people that talk about claims, and look, there's a lot of people, but they also tend to give the same talks over and over. So we'll always bring in a couple of claims focused people, because that's what you do for a living. So it's important. But yeah, I'm more interested, have always been more interested in how do you grow your business ethically and responsibly? What kind of safeguards do you have to have? What does technology look like? I think last year, we did a whole presentation on automation and integration, and what does that really look like for you if you're sitting in your office being like, man, I wish I was more efficient. won't be a surprise, but obviously this year we'll do a lot of stuff with AI as well because everyone wants to know, right? So everyone wants to know what AI is, how they can use it. Lots of people think they're using it the best way. Pretty much everyone that uses it thinks they're using it the best way. So
Oh, sure.
we're going to go into like what actually works, what doesn't work. Is it ethical to use it the way that you're using it? Is it ethical to use it the way that I want to use it, right? So we're going to go through a lot of that too.
Yeah, so cool. It kind of connects all the dots, right? Because that ethics is kind of, I mean, we all talk, it's such an overused word. It really is. And it's very frustrating because this industry lacks a lot of it, and it's very frustrating. And but the people you bring in, hopefully, are the ones that are kind of the beacon of that. And I think that's super important because, man, it's a slippery slope, man. And this industry needs to level up. Number one, which is why you probably chose the name, I'm guessing. And number two, it's such a, if we all did it right, it would be, I think the carriers will respect us more. And I think that's part of the problem is people want to cut a shortcut. And then I can tell you, I'm 58 years old. I've been doing this for a long time. The shortcut is getting up every morning and working your ass off and surrounding yourself with really good people. And that is the shortcut. And it takes forever. And I think people miss that. They want to cut to the chase, and you can't do that in our business, man. Right?
Yeah. Every freaking day. You got to just that it's the hardest part. Like it's exhausting, but it's not just our industry. It's a
Yeah.
lot of businesses. Like unless you literally have invented some like automated like online trading system, like you got to show up and you got to do the work.
Or some
And
dating app or something, right? You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, good for you if you've got some app that really does it all, but like we're representing people, whether you're an attorney, public adjuster, or contractor. You got to worry about people, you got to worry about claims, you got to worry about insurance companies. If you're a contractor, you got to worry about production and quality. And that doesn't happen while you sleep. It happens while you're up and you're making sure the right people are doing the right things
Every day.
every day.
Every day. And on Saturday. Did you have like an epiphany to get this thing started, or did it come slowly, or did you wake up one morning, you know what, I want to put on Summit? I mean, how did that come to, because it's a lot of work, bro.
Yeah, I'd gone to a really big, it's still the biggest, even though it got smaller, right? I'd gone to a huge conference. I'd gone to Win the Storm.
Yep.
And I felt like there were pieces of it I liked. What did I actually like? I liked the breakouts because even though the breakouts were still very much kind of pay to play, what I noticed is the breakouts were like given to you in exchange for your booth or whatever. So people were trying to come up with cool, interesting things to talk about to get people to their breakouts. So I actually really liked the breakouts. I didn't like the exhibit hall. I don't like feeling like I'm at a meat market when I go, like, when I go to see like a friend, maybe you're like, hey, I'm in the hall, like this much, come see me. Like, I don't need 16 people being like, hey, hire us for this or that.
Yeah.
I think it's got its value, just not for like my event. I actually go, like, I'm such a nerd. I go to these conferences and I walk the exhibit hall every freaking year because I want to see, like, I go to IRE every year to walk the exhibit hall. I want to see the newest tech, the newest equipment, the newest roofing materials, right? But it wasn't for me. But yeah, the breakouts were awesome. The real keynotes were good, but I didn't like the panels because everyone was just paying to be on there. So the panels consisted of like everyone beating their chest to try to get attention. I remember I sat on one of the attorney panels and there were like 15 of us for a 50-minute panel.
With two microphones.
Yeah, I was like, I did the math, guys, and everyone gets to speak for 2 minutes and 7 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
But yeah.
these smaller events are much more personable, and you get FaceTime. And what do you have? 150, 200 people? What's the number?
Yeah, we try to keep it small,
Yeah.
150, 200, which is actually smaller. Like our first year, it was closer to like 400.
Yeah, I remember that.
But we rented a huge venue, and what happened is when we bought a building a couple of years back, and I thought to myself, man, I really would like to do the event at the building because we'd have so much more control. And A, it'll also make it smaller, and B, it makes it financially like easier for me because if I'm not renting out a facility, then I can also bring in my own caterers and like do all this stuff, and I can put on the event. Like, I mean, like for instance, just setting up that first year, I think we had like 12 hours to set up. There was a band in the venue until 3 a.m. So no, less than 12 hours. We had like 5 hours to set up. We could preload our stuff ahead of time, but we could not start until like 3 or 4 in the morning. And I think people were checking in at like 8 a.m. It was insane.
Uh,
So this way I can block off that room and I can set up for 3 weeks, right? We can do whatever we want, control it all. So we made it smaller. And then that also allowed me, because now I'm not hemorrhaging money on rent and like ridiculous food and beverage. I can get stuff that like everyone will enjoy. So I can get better food and I can make tickets for free. So now I can just invite people I want to come.
I want to talk about that too. So it doesn't cost anybody to go there. I mean, you get to pay for your own travel and food and stuff, but
Yeah.
at the end of the day, you're in for free, right? And
Yeah, exactly.
that's intentional for you, correct? I mean,
It is. So every year we sold tickets, and then I announced last year at the event that it was going to be invite only this year. And you just apply for an invite, but we want to vet you to make sure like we think you're not a bad person, essentially, right? No offense if you don't get in, but like obviously if you're working for a carrier, like
yeah.
it's just not appropriate for you. And then if we just think your values aren't going to line up with the people that are there, because I'm trying to get really good folks in a room, right? So I want everyone to share. I want everyone to interact. I want open, honest conversations. I don't want like cliques, and I don't want people clamming up because of who's in the room, right? So, but yeah, other than that, it's free. So I think this year we have you pay like a $50 deposit, but the day of when you check in, we have someone just clicking refund, 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 refund. We only do that to make sure you show up.
So I mean, a lot of these events, we've been to. They try to be. I mean, number one, I don't know how they make any freaking money at it because it looks like a freaking debacle. I mean, I don't know how they make any money at it. So it's cool that it's. I mean, you don't you don't do it for the money. You do it to get. It's one of those things. The more you give, the more you get back too, right? So
Yeah.
it's a certain synergy there. So I mean, that's the idea. Is this industry has, me personally, done so much personnel wise, financially, relationships, and I think people forget that sometimes, that it's an investment in your own self development and the more people good quality people you surround yourself with at these smaller events, if you don't get anything out of it, it's on you, man. If I tell my guys is everybody I talk to, pick 5 people that you don't know that you want to meet at that event. Go with purpose. Go with an idea like, I want to go meet this guy because I saw him on Facebook and he posted this really cool thing, and then just go talk to him, man. And that's why we all go to these things, is to meet and greet and develop these relationships.
And people don't realize this, but because it's a smaller event, and because we're not a small company, but we definitely treat everyone like family, and anyone that's worked with us knows this. Like if you're nervous, this happened last year. Someone emailed us, I want to go. I'm nervous to go. I've never really been to like an industry conference. I don't know anyone. Am I going to be isolated? So what did we do? We jumped on the phone. What do you do? Where do you work? And we hooked them up with like 3 people in their area that were coming, right? Just made intros like via email and text before they even got there. And they had like 3 new contacts, right? So like, that's the nice thing about a small event, is like, we can do that. It doesn't cost us anything. It makes you comfortable. So like, yeah, you got to go. Like, I want everyone to leave with like 3 to 5 new people that they feel like they can share and collaborate with, right? And then I want them to leave with like 3 to 5 new like actionable things for their company that they're like, okay, I'm going to go execute that in the next like month.
What's cool is I remember sitting there at the table just taking notes on stuff. I'm like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, that makes sense. I'm like, and once I've been doing this forever, but if I've noticed the more open mind I have, the more stuff I'm there, stuff starts clicking, right? Bam, 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 bam. And that's the idea, because if you sit there and just have your laptop open, returning emails the whole time, you're not going to get anything out of it. You gotta be intentional with your time. And number one, be respectful of everybody around you, because they're there to hunker down and learn this stuff, man. That's the cool part. That's the cool part.
Yeah, and anyone that comes, you'll see like on the breaks, everyone's talking like, oh wow, like I didn't know that. And like some of the speakers we're bringing in, like that's the other thing, right? Because it's not super industry focused. Like you'll see a couple of people that you've seen before.
Hey, okay, let's go over that. What are the big time speakers you're having this year?
Yeah, some of the names still aren't released, but look, you'll see some of the folks you're used to seeing. You'll see Jack Hanks. You'll see Gavin Dandridge, right? You'll see Kevin Dandridge. You'll see, although I guess I got to check on him and make sure he's okay, because I heard he had a bit of a fall. We'll have some of our lawyers kind of talk about what bad faith and stuff is, but on the business side, you're going to meet Emma Tesler. If you follow our podcast, like she's fantastic. She's a marketing genius. And then I've assembled the smartest, like I kid you not, the smartest AI people in the world.
Oh, wow.
And they all do different AI things. So like there will be a lady there from the UK who is the leading AI voice like developer out there. You
Oh,
know, the
wow.
things they are doing with AI as it relates to voice, like calling, making outbound phone calls, like all the ads you see on Facebook, like
Yeah.
forget it. They're doing so many more complicated things than that. And she's going to come and she's going to break down like what their capabilities really are, how they work, what you should look for if you think that's a good fit for you. She's not there to sell her services. Frankly, you can't afford them. No one can. We can't afford them, right? But she is there to provide like her info and how it works and what you should be looking for. And we're bringing in a lady from Switzerland. Yeah, Switzerland, who does AI as well, but she does like custom made AI databases and like can show you kind of how at a very accessible price point, you can take all your existing information and data and make that accessible to your entire team in like an ethical and safe way, right? So we're going to be like stuff like that. And then of course, because all of the marketing junkies out there, we're going to talk about like AI and marketing and how you can use AI to increase your marketing. So there will be a lot, and that's just like some of them. We're bringing in one of my favorite leadership coaches out there, but you have to like be at some of these invite only events to even meet her. So like it's not a secret. I spend a bunch of time and money like working on our business. So whenever I see someone that's like absolutely amazing, I get them to come to the summit so everyone else can hear from them too. Like I don't need to hide what we're doing.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's the cool part, man. I mean, that's the amazing part of it. It's not about, read more books about claims or, wind speeds at 65 mile an hour, what they do to shingles. We get enough of that. So this is the stuff that it's next level stuff, man. That's where everything's going anyway. I mean, my God, it's AI. 5 years ago wasn't even a thing. Now it's a thing.
And you'll see that even with Kevin, right? Like some of you have seen Kevin's presentation. Safety, it's important. OSHA's great. We all know that. We're going to push him a little outside his comfort zone. And one of the ways we do that that's helpful is we take like a presentation and kind of convert it into an interview sometimes. So it lets me kind of push them further than they want to go, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. You just gave a great example about how I can hire you to write an estimate, but let's talk more about like what the overall philosophy is we're handling the claim should be. I can send you some money and you can clean up my estimate and add a bunch of stuff to it. But what's that argument really look like? Like how does that truly work other than, hey, you got to do it, right? Let's talk about why it's important, so even on the claim stuff, like I want anyone to leave with like, not just, oh, here's someone I can hire and like make more money. I want them to leave with like a philosophical approach to these things, right?
That's awesome. So of the last 4 years, besides me, who's been your favorite speaker? Who did you get the most like? Another question? What speaker surprised you when you left, going, "Oh God, that is amazing! I didn't even think of that when I booked this guy or girl." Who is that?
Yeah. So we had my favorite speaker ever, didn't surprise me at all, was one of the only two-time speakers we've had. You'll be the second person I think to be a two-time speaker. But Joey Coleman, those of you that were there last year saw him, and those of you that were there the first year saw him. He is a good friend of mine, author. He talks fast. He throws a lot of information at you. And a lot of people, as a result, do leave and like never do the things that he said to do. But I will tell you, like, we can measure the results, and it is a 7-figure difference from just implementing the things that he talked about both years, right? Like it's trackable. Like the investment is less than 5 figures and the return is 7.
Oh my God.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But it does require like a culture shift. So like he was one of my favorites. But then man, the first year we had Erin, and I won't remember her last name now that I'm on the spot, but we had Erin come in about social media presence. And the coolest thing I saw was that she just like got people out of their chairs, made them do things like make Instagram posts while she was giving her talk, right? And some of those people today, I still see they had like no social media presence. And it's not a secret. Y'all know I don't really have one. Like I don't like posting. It's not my thing. Yeah, not Jack at all. But like I'll comment, I'll provide insight, but I don't like posting. It's not my thing.
Well, you never initiate the conversation. You chime in. Yeah, I get that.
And every once in a while I'll go through a phase where I'll try and then I'm like, I just don't like it, dude. But it is good for you. It is good for your business. It is good for networking. You know this, Jack. Like, and still to this day, some of the people that were there that first year are like now active on Instagram and Facebook, and they were never active before. And they're actually getting business because of the way they're posting, how they're posting, what they're saying. And that was crazy to me because I felt like she was a really risky hire for us, like, because keep in mind, because it's not pay to play, meaning I'm not charging any of the industry people to get on the stage, it means I'm paying all of the non-industry people. So like I'm
Mm,
flying this girl in from the UK, I'm flying this
yeah,
girl in from Switzerland, I'm flying a guy in from overseas, I'm flying another guy in from New York.
that's crazy. Very cool. Really cool. So is the Coleman, is he the guy that does the social media stuff? Was he there?
Joey Coleman did How to Never Lose a Client Again, which
Oh,
I feel like that year people were burned out. So a lot of people like went outside to grab a drink. And that was like the most valuable presentation. Like he actually talks about how you can design an entire client experience program. So your clients will start referring you more and more and more cases, which in theory lowers your advertising budget
yeah.
year after year, but your business goes up, right? And then a couple of years later, he wrote a book called Never Lose an Employee Again. And that changed our entire onboarding process. The way we onboard employees, we actually participated in like the research for his book where he
Oh,
came,
wow.
watched us onboard people, like gave us his 2 cents and said, well, why don't you try this? Why don't you try that? As part of his like actual book. And we saw much better retention on the employees you wanted to keep. The
All
ones
right.
you wanted to get rid of, you still had to fire, right? But but we don't really lose anymore. We don't really lose employees we want to have.
That's cool. We've only had 3 changes in our personnel since we started.
That's
In
awesome.
yeah, yeah.
But in this industry, people change companies like clothes.
Oh my God, dude! Let's talk about the social media stuff. You go online and they're at this company, then they go to here, they go to there, and it's just like I look at it and but that's the kind of person if they ever apply, I would never hire them because in 6 months the risk of them leaving is so great, and then we look like a fool. So I think people, I don't know what gets in their head. They keep changing and keep promoting their change. I would kind of keep that on the down low until things stabilize. But that's just me because people notice stuff like that, right? I think
Yeah, I
so.
see it two ways, right? I see it number one is like the person is just bouncing around a lot and it's not really stable. But the other thing I really believe is true is that a lot of these companies do a terrible job at making their team members feel like valued members of the team. I've
Yeah,
seen what you do. I've seen how you talk to your people. I've seen how you encourage your people. I've seen how you lift them up rather than take credit for what they do. Like, and I think that probably contributes to the very, very low turnover you have, right? But if you're sitting at home like right now and you think like, oh, I do all those things, like I'm a great boss, but you had a bunch of turnover this year, like it's probably you might be right that you're a great boss. You might treat people well, but you actually need to look at your onboarding process. And that's kind of what Joey taught. And
interesting.
look, any of you come, you missed Joey, he won't be here this year. Let me know. I've got extra copies of his book. I'll give it to you. You actually have to read it because he won't be here to tell you what to do. But his book's great, and what it really talks about is like the time to get that loyalty starts the day they walk in the door, actually a little bit before they show up that day, and it continues for like the first 100 days.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be welcoming, and you got to, I always find that the harder I work for my people, especially up front, the more comfortable they are, and then they just go because they want to be. And then success breeds success, right? When they see like Jason kicking ass on a claim, the other guys are like, "Oh, I need to like," you know what I mean? They're gonna dig in.
Oh yeah.
It's a very friendly competition, but they're all rooting for each other. You know what I mean? That's the cool part. That's hard to build too. I'm not gonna kid you. Dear God.
100%. It's really hard to build, and things like Joey explained, like he's like essentially it costs 50 to $100,000 depending on the amount you're paying the person to train someone up, lose them, and then rehire them.
Oh my
50 to
God.
100K, easy,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So like what is the value? Like for instance, every new employee that gets hired by us, they get like a gift box, like a big box branded with like some swag in it and their favorite snacks and things like that. And we tell them like, hey, bring your snacks your first day because there might be a little bit of downtime, whatever. Like, so they show up like already like, okay, these people got things that I like. They paid attention to what I
Yeah.
said, You know, what a weird interview question that is. What's your favorite snack? What do you like to eat? What's your favorite soda? But we're actually taking that down in case we hire you,
Well,
so
it's
we
a
can make sure
thing,
you have
right?
those
That means
things.
the world. That's if I'm a big Cheez-It guy and I come and I got a big stack of Cheez-Its on my desk, I'm like, these people give a damn. You know,
Yeah,
and what's that saying? Nobody knows you give a damn till they know you give a damn. You know,
exactly.
and that's a whole thing. So once
So
again, go ahead. I'm sorry, Galen.
yeah, that's the point. So we at the summit, what we're trying to do is give anyone that comes things like that you can take back that do not require you to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on computers or infrastructure or I hate you go to some business thing and they're like, okay, so you have to hire these 17 positions to do these jobs and then everything will go great. That's not practical to me. So like, because we have individual public adjusters, individual contractors, and then big companies that come. So like it needs to be accessible for everyone. So I just want you to leave with like 3 to 5 things that you're like, my company can implement that in the next month, like no problem. And our revenue will go up, our expenses will go down, and our efficiency will increase.
Perfect. So let's go over dates and where and times, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, sure thing. It's June 13th, 2025 at our office, which is in Metairie, Louisiana.
And there will be air conditioning this year.
There will be, yeah, the first year they worked all night to install the AC and did not accomplish their goal in time, but we did get it by midway through the day.
Yeah, that was great.
I personally guarantee there will be AC this year. I go in literally every day to make sure it's working because I'm so worried about it. And I will have an AC guy on standby. But yeah, it'll be Friday. It's also on a Friday, so it's not a Saturday, so everything will be open. But yeah, Friday, June 13th, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. We'll do check-in a little before that, probably like 8:15, 8:30.
It's only one day, right?
One day this year. We did one day the first 2 years, 2 days last year. What I found is a lot of people just had to jet. They had to leave. So we're doing one day again this year. And we'll feed you breakfast. We'll feed you lunch. The other change is every year we had done like a VIP dinner. And partially because the event was bigger, right? So this year I was like, screw that. We're finding a venue where everyone can go to dinner together. So
The Thursday night or the Friday night?
that's the Friday night. We'll probably throw a kickoff thing. I haven't announced that formally yet. Even if it's something as informal as like I've picked up a bar tab at this restaurant. You guys swing through if you're in town. But yeah, Friday night.
I'll be there, so that's good.
There you go. But no, Friday night, yeah, everyone's invited to dinner. So that'll be obviously more like 7 o'clock. The event's ends at 5, but we'll do a dinner for everyone. And that way you can continue to kind of connect with people that you met during the day and everyone can break bread together.
How do people apply to get their tickets?
Super easy. You go to levelupclaim.com and there's a button everywhere that says register to attend. All you have to do when you fill that out, it's just like essentially a Google form. You just tell us a little bit about yourself, nothing crazy. We're not asking for your date of birth or your social security number.
Long walks on the beach is what you like.
Exactly. But we do want to know what you do for a living. So we're going to ask you that. We want to know how many seats you're trying to get. And we want to know like dietary restrictions and your name and everything. And from there, as I said, as long as we don't see any red flags or we don't think you're actually working for the carrier, we will approve you. We just reserve the right to do that.
No, that's awesome, man. Again, once again, I mean, from the industry, I want to thank you for stepping up and doing this. I know this cost you a ton of time, ton of money. I know Bobby is just killing it. He's involved so much. He's been great to work with, by the way, the last several years. The guy is just phenomenal. He's on the ball like crazy. And everything we can do to help promote it, we're all about it. And you are number one of my closest friends. You're amazing. Your firm is amazing. And this event is just another byproduct of that whole attitude and kind of your aura. Does that make like the event is you?
Thank you.
I don't know how to explain that, but it's very you, bro. And I much appreciate that. It's really cool. So
thank you. I appreciate that. That means the world. Jack, I mean, obviously you're a great friend, but you're also a fantastic mentor. You've been doing this so long, and it's just great to always have someone that knows what they're doing that I can call and be like, hey, I've got a sticky situation. What do you think?
Yeah, I appreciate that. Well, we're not always right, but we're damn close, right? So
that's what we say. We're always trying to be right.
Guys, sign up. It's literally one of my favorite events of the year. The one day thing is great because you're not the second day you're not all burnt out. You go have a blast. You go have dinner and some drinks, and you get to hang out with all these really smart people. To be the dumbest guy in the room is actually where you want to be because there's so many great people around us to just absorb that knowledge and that everything, that aura they bring is so important, man. So Galen, thank you. Guys, sign up. It's a wonderful event, and I can't wait to get there in New Orleans. I'm saying the Ritz-Carlton this year. I'm very excited, by the way.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a good
Oh,
place.
God, I love that place. Dear God, it's wonderful. So,
But look, if you don't have Jack Hank's money, there's plenty of great hotels in the quarter if you want to hang out after.
Yeah.
But there's also great hotels in Metairie.
Yeah, it's beautiful, man. So Galen, thank you again. Thanks for coming on. This is going to wrap up our little podcast, and please sign up. Look for Galen. If you want a great attorney as well, hit Galen up for all that stuff too. So thanks, guys.
Thanks for tuning in to the Because Experience Matters podcast. That's all for today's show. If you want to learn more or work with Jack in person, visit www.thejackhanks.com. Oh, and don't forget to give us a 5-star rating on iTunes or Spotify to continue to grow the podcast and change the industry.